All right. Well, welcome to the 2020-2021 inaugural indoor interest meeting for percussion. This, I guess, in case you did not know, Christian Denica has been bugging me about this for a while, and secretly, I don't know if he knows it or not, but Kyle has also been bugging me about it just about regularly every time about this year. And being that we've lost a lot of performance opportunities, Christian has done his due diligence as a member of our ensembles, and it's a good thing for us to do. And Miss Denica was able to step up and help me because I only have X amount of hours in the day, and a new baby in the house. It just wasn't feasible with my schedule. It wasn't that I didn't want to. I love indoor percussion, taught it at the school I was at before. It's a ton of fun. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Like I said, I made a PowerPoint to help keep us on track. Today, if I can find that, I'm way out of practice on this, y'all. We've actually been face to face now. Let's see. Yeah. Or we'll just do screen. There we go. All right. So hopefully you can see the presentation. I'm going to try and make it full screen here. There we go. You'll probably have on the right-hand side, if you're not familiar with Zoom, there's a little like box with people's faces. You can actually hit the hide thumbnail on the far left side and just make it really tiny if you want to. If you want to see my face, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you can do that too, or whoever else might be talking. As we go, we'll let these folks in here. There we go. All right, so who do we have on staff this year for percussion? My job is to kind of be in charge of everything program related. Miss Hackney has been a huge asset this year, helping me navigate COVID and helping me navigate having a baby and running a band program, and just all around a great job of helping support me and our band program. You'll never know how much work she's put in. So when you get a chance, thank her as often as possible. But she's our assistant director of instrumental music at Etowah. Just kind of helps me out, administer the program, allow me to be on the podium with our kids as much as possible, doing the music thing. Miss Denica, we'll get her to say hello in just a minute and just introduce herself so her face will pop up on the screen so you can see her. She agreed to be our indoor sponsor. She's a invested parent in the indoor percussion thing because her kid's the one that has been bugging me to start it. And so she was willing enough to stand behind him on that and give of her time so they can have practices on campus. She's a CCSD employee, former teacher of the year at ET Booth, all around great lady. And so your kids are in great hands with her. I guess they're not kids, they're young adults now, aren't they? And then we have Kyle Renato, who has been working with us, I don't know, Kyle, for 3-4 years now with marching band, and does a really great job. A lot of great ideas. He challenges me as a director, asks really great questions to push our program forward. And then Eric Ramos, who is a newer face this year, and with the pandemic, we haven't got necessarily a chance to get him in front of parents as often as we would have other years, because we just haven't had as many rehearsals and performances. We'll get him to introduce himself in a minute too. Part of the program, I'll turn over to Kyle and Eric to kind of run to talk about how students will be placed on instruments, what rehearsals might look like, what competitions may look like, so you have an idea before you get into that. I promised them I would handle the nitty-gritty stuff like schedule and the money side of things here. So Anessa, do you want to unmute and just say hello and introduce yourself so people can see your face?
Hi, good evening, guys. It is so exciting to be starting this new program. But again, if you don't know me, I'm Miss Hackney. I apologize for my crazy dog in the background tonight. I'm literally the first one home tonight. So looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to do together and watching this new chapter of our program.
Ms. Denica, do you want to say hello to everybody so they can see and hear from you?
Hi, I'm Miss Denica. I know most of you guys already, probably back from booth. I'm really excited about this too. I'm glad Mr. Long gave me the opportunity to be involved with it, and I'm happy to work with him and Miss Hackney and Eric and Kyle, and I think it's going to be awesome. So super excited.
Awesome. Kyle, do you want to say hello? So your face hopefully pops up on my screen too so people can see you.
Sure. Hello, everybody. As you can see, I shaved. So
I didn't, I'm sorry.
the kids really appreciated that on Thursday. Yeah, I'm Kyle. I'm super excited to do indoor. This is going to be really good in terms of kind of developmentally and making sure everybody's moving along forward. And I'm really excited. Eric and I have been talking about show stuff. So it's going to be cool. And I hope we get a really big group of folks to do this because that's going to be what really kicks us off really strong. So really excited.
Awesome. Eric, you want to say hello to everybody too so they can see your face?
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? Actually, you guys can't really respond. Sorry about that. Oops. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to write for you guys as usual.
Awesome. All right. So next up is kind of, when are we going to practice? When's it going to get started? I know there's been some questions about that online in the band app. But our goal is to start up about the same time that Winter Guard starts up because those seasons overlap pretty closely. And I think a student asked me if they could do both. I said that would be quite a bit of work to begin with to be committed to both of those rehearsals. It's doable, but I don't see you being able to compete because the Saturdays will likely be double booked. So you kind of have to pick one or the other. But starting up on December the 8th, and practicing that Tuesday, Thursday through the end of the semester. So that's December 8th, 10th, 15th, and 17th from 5 p.m. till 8. For those who are freshmen, there'll likely be a final exam schedule that last week, at least the last couple of days of the semester. So your school day will be different. Maybe you have lunch and a final, so you're not going to be at school all day. You would just come back to campus in time for rehearsal at 5 o'clock. It just means you'd have the afternoon off to go take a nap and get ready and practice for percussion or indoor percussion. December practices will be the ones where they determine instrument placement and begin working on warm-up packets, kind of getting our feet underneath us from a musical standpoint. Imagine Eric may want to go and teach a little bit of marching fundamentals to battery once they're set so they can begin to move and play. And then we obviously are out for 2 weeks for December break. And so practices will resume back up on January 5th, and they'll run each Tuesday and Thursday from 5 to 8 o'clock. So kind of like the marching band schedule that we were looking at for this last fall pre-COVID. But Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 8. That way students have a chance to get some food after school. Those who are off campus can get onto campus, and they're not super, super late getting home afterward to do homework and shower and go to bed because high schoolers, you need to shower. You smell sometimes. There'll be a few Saturday rehearsal camps during the season. Until we know when those competitions are going to be, it won't be smart for us to set those dates yet. Winter Guard tends to do about one or so a month around their competition schedule, but as soon as JIPA, which is the Georgia Indoor Percussion Association, so it's the SAPA, if you're familiar with Winter Guard, of percussion world here in Georgia. Once they have their competitions scheduled, we'll be able to select those, get the group registered, and then we'll be able to get that out. I imagine if it's me running things, December should be a time where we may see that. If not, definitely by January. I know a Saturday that tends to be pretty open for guard type things and percussion type things is that weekend of MLK because there's an extra day that weekend. And so that might be one just to kind of eye and keep open just in case. So we can have like a longer day. That's usually used to, and I guess I should let percussion people talk about it, but it's usually used to really work on drill and put things together to get ready for those first competitions, practice how to get on and off the field or the gym floor and that type of thing. So just want to make sure that we mention those. And this one right here at the bottom is the most important, especially because during COVID, we've been super, super flexible because we're not competing this fall. So we've been really flexible about scheduling and things. But since this will be a competition season, all rehearsals and competitions are required. If you're signing up to do an extra group, but you don't want to show up for practices, then you may have picked the wrong activity. And if you're not going to compete, then why are you going to participate? It's too expensive to miss out on the best part of the season, which are those competitions. So make sure that you are able to participate in those rehearsals and competitions. If you have something planned like 12 months in advance, which I think COVID probably struck most of those out, if you have something unique like that, let us know as soon as the schedule comes out so we can work that out as best we can and make a decision early on instead of getting the week before a competition and a student literally cannot be there, and that puts the entire ensemble in jeopardy of having a successful performance, as that's just not fair to everybody else. Let's see. What forms do you need in order to participate? If you participated this fall in marching band, you should be good with everything except for the indoor percussion specific things like the registration form, which most of you should have filled out, and then what will be getting posted in the next week or so, a payment plan sign up, so we know how money will come in, so we know how to get things paid for. But students must have a current CCSD physical consent and release packet on file. This went digital this year on Canvas for Etowah High School, and actually, once it was live, which was kind of after we needed it for marching band, was really, really helpful and pretty easy. You should have access to that through your students' Canvas. I get Ms. Hackney, is there anything else you might want to add to that since you kind of handled that for me?
It is so much easier than it used to be. Parents have a section that they need to fill out, as do students, and then you can go on your student or parent page and be able to confirm that everything is updated and up to par. And if you need to make your insurance changes or any of those sorts of things, you do all of that through that Canvas portal.
So it's real easy. If you don't have those things finished, say you didn't march with us or you got a friend that's at Etowah High School, but not in the band program, they need to come see me before they show up to anything. We'd love to have them, but I just want to touch base with them and make sure they know what's going on. They fill out that Canvas portion, and there's still a doctor portion where the doctor has to check you out and sign off that you're okay and fit to participate in athletic activities. The doctor portion can be found on the indoor website. I need to add an additional link. I'm trying to put everything in one place for indoor, so you don't have to go and hunt and go, did I need that form for percussion or guard or whatever, so that it's on that activities page. So I'll get that added. Right now you can find that, excuse me, on the resources page where all the other files and things have been put. But I'll try and put a link to it on the indoor page in the next couple of days. So it's just all in one place, nice and compact and easy for you to find and others. You've got to have the COVID waiver, which I'll also link there as well. Again, if you participated this fall, that you're good on these. I would encourage those of you with that March this fall, if you did not get your physical updated and it was just good until November, they're good for 1 year. So you need to make sure that you won't expire during indoor season because you'll need it to go a little bit longer than you used to. Sometimes you can go, I think CVS or one of the pharmacies near us does like a $20 or $50 physical. It's real cheap and easy to do. If you don't want to go see your doctor, maybe you've already used, especially this late in the year, you might have already used your free physical for the year through health insurance. That way you can use that and it won't cost an arm and a leg to get that done. The online registration form, again, which most of you all filled out because you got the link to this meeting. A payment plan has got to be selected and a deposit paid no later than December 11th. That'll be the same for our Winter Guard folks too, just so we are all working on the same set of dates. So it's a little easier for us to all remember. But I'll make a Google form with the payment plans we'll talk about in just a minute for you to fill out, or the family commitment plan or a scholarship application no later than December 11th. That gives us a week to process those before December break. So if there's any questions or any issues, or maybe you need just a day or two more to get that into us, we can work on a case-by-case basis with that. So we've got all that ready to go when we get back in January, because with a lot of these activities like marching band, costs come up front, and then we run the season off of the money that we're able to take in up front and through fundraising efforts. So I think that covers most of the forms. And then how much will it cost to participate? This ended up being smaller than I thought it was when I made it. So I'll read it out a little bit to you. Total cost for 2021 is going to be $400. That covers staff fees to pay them for their time for being here and working with us, competition fees, some money set aside to help out with the transportation of the equipment. With COVID and with these indoor groups, we do ask for parents to provide transportation to and from the actual competitions. With COVID, that's even bigger of a deal because they're discouraging smaller groups from taking school buses. It's just more dangerous. We don't coordinate those trips for you, because then we have to fill out a ton of paperwork on all the drivers. But as parents, if y'all get together and agree, if Danielle's not able to take Christian for some reason, this is just a hypothetical, but she's okay with Miss Hackney taking him because her daughter is going to be participating too. They get together, work that out, and that's fine. But the band will not be coordinating rides to and from events, because that's a liability on the county. And again, that's just a whole lot of paperwork, but y'all are welcome to work that out with each other. Students can talk to each other about that as well. It's the same policy that we hold for Winter Guard for the last few seasons, as we've gotten that one going pretty good as well. So total for the season, $400. A deposit of $100 is due December 11th to secure your spot. Again, that's basically startup money so we can get started purchasing things. That helps cover the staff for the month of December with those 4 rehearsals. Anything else we might need to order before the holiday break so it arrives in January: drum heads, sticks, mallets, any auxiliary percussion stuff that we might need, power cords, microphone cables, anything else we might need to outfit. Percussion's pretty expensive hobby to have, because it encompasses a lot of stuff. Families are welcome to pay in full. If you've got the $400 and you want to just write a check in December and call it done, that's totally fine if you want to do that. The payment plan option we have is $100 due in December 11th. Payment 1 would be $150 due January 15th, and the final payment of $150 due February 12th. If you need to spread that out just a little bit. As I try and reiterate as often as possible in our program, I don't want money to be a factor for a student not participating in our program. That does mean we have to be diligent as a program about fundraising at all times. We've got a couple fundraisers going right now between the raffle tickets, which are doing well, but we've still got quite a few left to go, and the holiday wreaths, which we're selling this week through Friday, which are getting off to a good start. We'll also have a SAPA Winter Guard show, hopefully in March, that we'll need some help with if the indoor percussion group's not competing that particular Saturday, for them to help out with that as well, just so we have some money in order to help offset these costs. But families who need a different payment plan, say you need 1 more month or 2 more months to spread this out across, you can fill out a family commitment plan, which is a Google form, and I'll link that again under forms on the indoor site in the next day or so as well, where you basically can set up your own payment plan. And what we do is you commit to that plan, we commit to saying that that's all right. And then as long as you stick with that plan, we allow students to continue to participate at 100%. If something's missing there, or we miss a payment or whatever, we'll reach out to you and see what's going on with that. If something changes, again, COVID changed a lot of people's finances over the last few months since March. So if something changes, let us know. We don't mind working with you. Again, I don't want money to be a stumbling block for a student who wants to participate, as long as in good faith they're practicing like they should, showing up to rehearsals and participating in fundraising and volunteer efforts. Families in hardship that just don't have the money to do it in the first place can apply for a scholarship from the EHS Eagle Band. This is actually funded at large part through the discount cards, which we're still selling as well. One of our big fundraisers. Jackie's done a good job with that, but a lot of our scholarship money that we're able to provide for students is made through that particular fundraiser. So if you're able to sell some of those, especially if you're in need or not in need of a scholarship and able to sell those, that helps make sure there is money there. And you can sell those online this year, which is helpful during the pandemic. You don't have to be around other people. You can share that on social media. But we ask families that are part of that to help with volunteer and fundraising. Again, just some buy-in with our program in some fashion. If that doesn't work, let us know. There are other things that we might need help with during the season, from helping with paperwork to all kinds of other things. So there's ways for you to still help us out, even if you're not able to. Maybe you're working 2 jobs, you're just not able to physically be somewhere. We can try and find a way for you to help out in a way that's not going to be taxing or get in the way of those things at home. Families selecting a family commitment plan or a scholarship should submit their applications no later than December 11th, so the same day as the deposits are due, so we can process those. Just full disclosure, we've not been good about doing those in a timely manner over the last few years, and that's 100% on me. I've already spoken with Ms. Hackney and our booster presidents, and we already have a date on the calendar to talk about winter guard and indoor percussion scholarships early here in December. So we're able to provide you with that feedback of whether you were accepted, or if it's on a certain percentage of 50%. You don't need a 100% scholarship, but you need help half of it. That helps spread that money out as well. So but that needs to be turned in on the same deadline as everybody else. So we're all operating under the same understanding as far as when money will come in or who's going to need that help. We don't share that information with anybody else. We have a small committee that meets to approve those and go over those scholarships and family commitment plans. We don't share that information out with others because of privacy. That's your business. Some people feel, I don't know, my dad didn't like me borrowing lunch money from friends because he had an aversion to that, which looking back, I kind of understand a little bit because it's usually because I was lazy and didn't take my lunch money to school. I didn't actually need it. But some folks don't feel like asking for that help. Trust me, if you need that assistance, please let us help you with that so your students can participate. Don't choose to not participate in the program just because of money. Give us an opportunity to help you and your student. You need to make sure there's food on the table and heat on this winter, not whether you should be doing indoor percussion or not. So let us assist you with that. I guess let's take just a pause break and look at the chat for just some questions on that before I turn it over to Kyle and Eric to talk about some more just percussion specific things, which will matter a little bit more to the students than the parents. I'm trying to figure out how to get back over to.
Mr. Long, there are not any questions currently, but if someone wants to, if they
Does
have
anybody
them.
if you've got a question, you want to drop it in the chat there. I've got that pulled up so we can try to answer a couple of those. I do try to be thorough, but don't think that asking a question is not okay. $400 per member, Drake. And I'll post the PowerPoint presentation also after we get done. Deposit due December 11th of $100 to secure your spot in the group. And that is after the first week of rehearsals. So it gives you a chance to give it a shot. Zach, competition during February break? Possibly, because not all school districts operate with a February break. We have to pick the ones we're going to be set up for the best success for. Again, I assume that we would know that competition schedule pretty early on. So as far as should we go on vacation or stay in town kind of thing, we should be able to let you know pretty early on about February break. Andreas, send me an email. I'll send you a link. Or come by my classroom. Season, I'll let, when we talk about competitions, I'll let Eric and Kyle talk about that. But it overlaps winter guard pretty specifically. Any other questions about the nitty gritty, the schedule itself, or the money, especially from the parents? I know that's really what y'all are wondered about probably most as parents, is what's it going to cost and how much time is it going to take? How many times I got to drive to the band room? All right, well, we'll keep going here. And like I said, this next part, I'm going to flip over to Eric and Kyle, and I did not get with them before this. So they're going to talk about how students are going to get placed on instruments, what to expect at rehearsals, how competitions work, and then we'll do some more questions at the end. So I guess let's kick off here, Eric and Kyle, if y'all want to talk about how y'all are going to go about determining what students should be on which instrument.
So before we get there, I do want to get just a brief kind of overview for folks about what indoor percussion is. If y'all haven't, especially those of you parents or students who haven't really been, aware of this kind of before. The way indoor percussion works is it's essentially marching band. You've just taken away all the wind instruments, and instead of playing on a football field, you're playing on a basketball court. So it's literally indoor percussion. They're very similar to marching band shows. So it's kind of a lot of the same style in terms of music and everything. Obviously, the difference is that it's just the pit and the drumline playing the whole time. Shows, instead of being like 7 or 8 minutes long, are often about 4.5 to 5 minutes long. But because of it's just being percussion, you're playing a lot more. So it's going to be a lot of music to learn. If you're in the pit, it's going to be a lot of notes to learn. If you're in the drum line, it's going to be a lot of rhythms to learn, right? So the other difference between marching band and indoor is that indoor, there is a lot more visual responsibilities that we as an ensemble have. In marching band, drumline and pit, oftentimes, we'll do some visuals, but we get away with not doing that much because there's other more interesting things going on in the field. Well, in indoor percussion, it's just us. And so we take on a lot of the responsibilities that a color guard or the marching band would have in indoor. So in a lot of different ways, it's going to get you outside of your comfort zone in a lot of ways, but that's also what's so cool about it, right? And the reason that I'm so excited about us doing this is, we're going to be able to kind of explore different areas and improve as an ensemble in ways that we wouldn't be able to have time for in a traditional marching band season. And we certainly haven't had time for in this marching band season, right? Because of kind of the extraordinary nature of this year. Eric, do you have any other insights into what indoor percussion is?
It's not as, because it's a smaller group and the percussion has more responsibility. It's not as, I guess, rigid in the sense that we have these really specific drill sets the whole time. It's a lot more fluid, and it changes a lot more because it's a smaller group throughout the season. So you go to a competition, then you'll spend the next week or two making changes. So there's a lot of changes constantly happening. Marching band is more of like a marathon because the season is a lot longer. You have a lot more people involved, and indoor it's a sprint. The season is a lot shorter. There's a lot less people, and there's a lot more things going on just because there's less of you on the field. And so because there's less of you, there's more responsibility. So there's a lot more dancing involved, body movement, and you'll be wearing drums. You won't be wearing drums. You'll be all over the place doing a lot more just things, and it'll be a lot more fun.
It is a lot more fun, can confirm. One more thought I just had while you were talking, Eric.
Let me say this. Oh, whoops.
Go for it, please.
We will be learning marching stuff this time. So that'll be a big change from this season. From this past season, just the fact that we're marching now. And we kind of marched, but for the seniors, in an actual marching show, you were just going the whole entire time, basically, except in between movements. So it'll be a lot more physical. And so we'll be working on marching and visual stuff about as much as we will be doing music.
That leads into what I was going to say, which is just that everybody, I'm not sure if you can see me or hear me, but okay, good. This indoor percussion season is going to be very competitive, right? And especially going from this marching band season where we've just kind of done what we can, right? And like we're making the best of it. For those of y'all, especially who are new that haven't gone through a marching band season before, but also for even returners, we're going to expect to operate on a really competitive level, right? Because Eric and I kind of feel like we'd be selling you short if we didn't. And so because there's so many new things for us to learn, because this is going to be a lot more music, right? Because this is such a kind of a competitive musical environment, you should just be ready, right, to show up that first or second week of December and not expect it to be easy. right? This is the reason we're doing this is not just to have like a victory lap. The reason we're doing this is because this challenges us and it makes us better. Eric and I talk a lot about this kind of this triangle of, you know, it's fun to be good, but in order to be good, you have to work hard. And so it's going to be a fun season, but in order to have fun, we've got to work hard because that's what makes us good. And it's good to be fun, or it's fun to be good, rather. Just kind of understand the way that works and be ready for that, right? Be ready to come and show up to work and expect to have high expectations for myself and Eric, specifically when we start with auditions. So the way we're going to determine instruments, most of y'all that are returning can more or less expect to be where you are. Eric might correct me on that. And then those of you who are newer, we're going to do an audition process. And what that's going to consist of is for everybody, there's going to be some mallet pieces that you have to learn. I know on my part, I'm going to want to make sure everybody knows, you know, 12 major scales. There's going to be some rudiments, some warm-up packets for you to learn showing up, so that even the first day that we're, you know, auditioning folks on instruments and figuring out those placements, you are going to be expected to know a lot of what we've got going on there, just so that we can get a move on right there. Other thoughts on that, Mr. Ramos?
At the same time, don't let the high expectations dissuade you. It's not life and death at all. It'll be a lot of fun, and we're just letting you know that it'll be more like, for the older students, a regular marching season where you show up and you have to do your thing. If you don't do your thing, there are consequences. But we're super excited. I know that sounded. I just went all. I want a complete 180 already. I'm gonna stop talking.
No, it started really strong, Eric. It started really strong, and then just, but that's okay. All right, so yeah, those of you who were in marching band this year when Eric and I did the kind of audition process at the beginning, it's gonna be very similar to that. We're just trying to figure out, you know, where everybody fits best, you know, where you can contribute, where you can grow the most, those sorts of things. For those of you who are newer at this, it's kind of a constant thing in marching band, that maybe, you know, there's a spot that you want to be at, but we're like, oh man, you would really be great here, and then you can do this. And so kind of be ready for that, right? But that's the way that folks are going to be on instruments. We're going to do the best we can, and everybody's going to be happy with how it turns out. I know that for a fact. What to expect at rehearsals, much the same as marching band. We will be doing sectionals at the beginning, and then go probably to the aux gym, I think you said, Mr. Long, for like some ensemble stuff. The reason that I do pit is because I don't like learning drill. So those of you who are in the drum line, there will be a lot of drill to learn. Those of us in the pit will not be doing that, which is excellent. So we'll be doing lots of visual stuff, and obviously learning lots and lots of notes and musicality and stuff. But in terms of the structure of rehearsals, it'll be about the same. Eric?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we start with music and end on the visual side of things, and then slowly work on them together. But there'll be basic blocks, just like in marching band. But we'll do our percussion-ish version of that, which is almost exactly the same. But there'll be a lot. I mean, half of the drill will really just be body stuff and moving around, not necessarily marching per se. So it's a lot more involved for the percussion section, just because we're the only ones out there.
What else do we need to go over, Mr. Long? Oh, how do competitions work? Eric?
Basically the same as marching band. Just almost exactly the same routine. And for those who haven't been to a competition marching band, you'll get up on Saturday, sometimes earlier than other Saturdays. Sometimes we'll have 2 shows on a day. I'm unsure about it for this season, but you get up, maybe go to Etowah, maybe have a little bit of rehearsal time, maybe finish packing up things, get all of your uniforms, and then go to the competition location, warm up there again, go perform, pack up. Same dealio. And we'll have our own, and for those of you wondering about our uniforms, we won't be using Etowah High School's marching band uniforms. We'll be doing a variation off of it. There's a little bit more, what's the word I'm
Theater.
looking for?
There's a lot
Sorry?
more theater. There's a lot more theater
Yeah.
to indoor percussion. One of the things I want to make sure and share with everybody about competitions is that it being in a gym, if you've seen a winter guard show, it's similar in some aspects to that. During the competition, you come in the gym from one side, you leave from the other side. There's usually a point in the field where the clock starts, because you have X amount of time to get in, do your thing, and get out. And then you kind of pack up things. I think with JIPA, they also do something like critique, where your coaches will go into a extra room and get some one-on-one time with the judges for some really nitty-gritty good stuff that they bring back to you as a group to help you get better with those changes they were talking about from week to week. So it's a little bit different. It's a lot more, if you've seen some of the DCI type competitions, it mirrors that style a little bit closer than our marching band competitions, which are really kind of a free-for-all depending on who's running the show itself. Which there's some good things to that. There's some things that maybe I disagree with a little bit on that particular style, but that's the way things are in Georgia. But there's a little bit more linear motion in indoor percussion from day one to day last, where you really can see your growth really easily. And it's not this judging panel judges this way and this one judges that way. It's very streamlined. So it's across the way. So you might score a 50 or a 70 week one, but as you get better, that score goes up over the season, and you finish out with a high B or an A, an 80, 89, 90, 90 score towards the end of the season if you're doing really, really good. So it's a little bit for the math people, it makes a little bit more sense than kind of the hit or miss judging panels we might see for marching band. So I just want to make sure and kind of highlight that a little bit for those who weren't familiar with it.
Oh, speaking of competitions, and a marching band, you're usually grouped in the size of your high school. So the largest high schools are in 7A, then you have 6A and 5A, and that's how groups are mainly judged. But it's a little different in indoor. It doesn't really matter the size of your high school. There's different levels of competition, and even past the high school levels, there's different levels. You basically have two categories: outside of high school and inside of high school. Outside of high school and inside of high school, it's both world class. They call it scholastic for high school. And then you have open, and then you have A, and you have there's a bunch of different classes that you have. And the variations on a little bit, the judging will vary between each one of those levels. But there's also in between that different types of indoor groups, like standstill groups. There's just a lot of different panels and ways to be judged and ways to put on a show. And we're still, I don't want to speak before, but I believe we will be competing in Class A, which is probably where almost all of the Georgia high schools compete in.
So yeah, I think that's all we have to go over, Mr. Long, right?
Yeah. The two of you have any other things you wanted to highlight during the meeting? Any other topics that I didn't put in here?
It's going to be fun. It is going to be good.
It will. It'll be very fun.
And we need you guys to help us make this show great. We'll be talking to you guys for a lot of feedback. Your ideas will be heard and they'll be implemented. It isn't just Kyle and I saying, this is what we're going to do. We need you guys.
So I guess, are there questions? And as students at this point, you may have some questions just about some things you were wondering about, parents. If you have questions too, you can drop those in the chat there. And then before we get done, I've got two places of communication I want to make sure and highlight as we wrap up for everybody.
Drake, I see your question about as a wind player, where will you be placed? It really depends on kind of what the numbers look like and what the placements look like, that first week in December. So it'll really just depend on that, right? If you have something in mind that you really want to play, that's why those auditions are going to matter to see, okay, where where can you fit, things like that. So just be ready to show up and blow us away if you have something in mind that you do want to do.
Oh, for the length of the season, I'm not entirely sure we answered that.
No, I don't think we did.
The earliest competitions are in mid-February, and the latest competitions, which we won't be going to, are early April. Our last competition will be around late March. And we'll be
Sorry, go ahead.
and we'll be starting practices in December. So it'll basically go from December to March, with that big break between December and January.
Just to kind of give you guys an idea, if you looked on the GIPA website last year, the first competition was February 15th. The championships were March 28th. So that mirrors our Winter Guard season. We sometimes start Winter Guard competitions a little bit sooner, but we always end that last weekend in March as well.
A lot of that revolves around testing windows because they know these are high school students. And once you hit April, I mean, you pretty much have to shut most things down. I think the only thing still going is baseball and a couple other sports, just because that's when they've always been. So that's the biggest reason why that shuts down at the end of March. Katrina, yes, you can use the same physical form for marching band. You just want to make sure that it doesn't expire during indoor season. So if you did it during the physical days over the summer, they're good for a year. So you should be good.
I know from Winter Guard, the biggest thing that was a change for me as a parent / sponsor is that transportation piece. So I know parents, just making sure that your child has transportation to and from, and it can't, the school system has some requirements on that as well. It can't just be like, oh, I'm going to drop them off and then find your own way home. Again, that is your responsibility. And so we need to make sure we, take care of that. Same with you guys, kiddos, as well.
Carlos, your question about sticks and things. I know for keyboard instruments, we'll have those for sure. I would think we have some random sticks. Eric, do you have like a good basic pair of drumsticks that aren't super expensive? They could go grab maybe some 5As or something bigger than that.
For marching or
for indoor? Carlos wondered about like for the first practice for like a more of a battery side. Bass drum mallets will have those, but for like tenor, snare drum.
I guess we will need to standardize the drumsticks that we use for this season, but if you're gonna get a pair of drumsticks, it's totally okay. You can use them to practice. Even if you don't use them for marching, you can use them at your house all the time. I would say get some maybe FS2s if you can find them, or just really a Ralph Hardiman's. Really any marching stick will work.
What are those? You're talking to wind players.
Oh, okay. I'll type the different types of sticks that I think will be at general music stores that you can easily grab. I'll just type a bunch of names. Oh, the material for the auditions. We
don't have it yet, Drake.
It'll get posted to the indoor site, and I'll make sure and let y'all know. And then when we talk about the communication piece, make sure you're plugged into those communication areas. So it'll be a PDF you can download, print out. And if you need that printed for you, you can let me know. I'm not going to kill a ton of trees, but if you need me to kill one for you, Drake.
I'm curious what you were about to say.
I don't. So Christian, you're right about the System Blues this fall. I do like the System Blues a lot. I don't know how common they're in stores, but I think we'll continue to use those for the tenors. I would like to use Sean Vega's, which are in the ProMark System Blue catalog. We'll figure that all out exactly. But I will write in this group chat just generic marching sticks that you can find in a lot of music stores like Guitar Center or Pioneer Music. I'm not even entirely sure if that's still around.
Yeah, and there's Ken Stanton down the street. So of course, Eric and Kyle, if there's something specific you want, I can always ask Ken Stanton to keep some in stock there for them to be able to run by. They won't keep a bunch for us, but they can keep a few just in case for for us to be able to access. So let me show real quick communication spaces. Hopefully you have found our new indoor percussion website, which is part of our band website. You can go to ehseagleband.org/indoor percussion, and it takes you here. If you go to our regular homepage, you can find this under About, and Indoor Percussion Ensemble is on this mouse over here. Of course, information for tonight was there at the top, so that'll change. Here's a good video. This is one of my favorites. It's Don't Try This at Home by Father Ryan from a few years ago, or maybe a lot of years ago, I don't know. It's basically like a Daredevil show. It's pretty cool. Eric and Kyle, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but they jump off of things and spin snare drummers around. This is pretty top level indoor percussion, but if you want to see maximum for the activity, this is a really fantastic show. It's real interesting and fun to watch. There's the registration that you may have used to sign up for tonight. Here's some reminders and things along with some of these forms. And then this will expand as we add things, and I'll add a place for the packets, the warm-up packets and things that Eric and Kyle will come up with and send to us. When it is time to make payments, you can make those payments through the Square site. I'll get those items added to the Square site over the next week or so you can pay digitally. They will be a little bit more expensive on the Square site because the fees, when you're doing a $10, $12 mask, they're not very much, but when you do $400, that whatever percent, 3% turns into a much bigger number. It kind of eats into what the students have access to as far as money for things. So there's a way you can get to that through the Square site and make those payments if you want to do it that way. We can also send you a QuickBooks invoice that allows you to pay with like a direct bank transfer. So kind of like you would do for your power bill. That one doesn't cost any extra as far as fees go. So you can pay the regular fee. But some people like to be able to pay with a credit card. So it's kind of like a convenience fee. But this is one place. The other, and I'll put a link to it here as well, is we use the band app for a lot of stuff with our program. And we had already a percussion band group that we started for percussion ensemble last year when it was just a little fun thing we were doing after school, getting ready for a concert, and then COVID hit, and I don't think we got to do anything with it last year. But it'll be a good resource for us to use. Kyle and Eric, myself, Ms. Hackney, and Ms. Denica are in there, so we can update calendars through that. We can send out files, pictures, share things there, and communicate pretty easily through that app. If you'll make sure that your email is part of your account and you have your emails turned on in your settings, we can actually send emails through the band app. And kind of like what we do through MailChimp, we're going to maybe look at that for the rest of the band too, just to keep everything in one place. But if you'll make sure and join the percussion band, I'll link it in the global band group as well, so it's a little easier to find. That'll help make sure that we've got a way to send stuff to you. We'll post files and links and things on the website. And what we'll probably do is create a shared folder with Eric and Kyle and myself, where we can they can drop files and students can get access to those through a link on the website. That way they can add stuff, edit stuff, whatever might need to happen without having to wait for me to update some website. It'll make it a little bit more streamlined that way too. So you can see in the chat, Eric typed in Innovative Percussion, FS2, Vic Firth, Ralph Hardiman, and System Blue, Scott Johnson. That's brand of stick is the first word, and the second one that's sometimes somebody's name and sometimes a number is the model of the stick itself, for those who are new to percussion things. So every stick is branded with somebody's name.
If you go to a store and show that to the person working it, they will understand. They will get you what you need.
Yep. So don't go out and buy a ton of sticks, because we will buy a group of sticks for the whole program, and we'll keep some extras you can buy from us so that everybody's on the same stick. And the purpose with that is one density stick is going to sound different than another density stick, because wood is not uniform from this to that. So that kind of keeps the tone quality the same by being on the same model and brand of stick. So that's the purpose behind that. So any other questions before we wrap up? We actually did a good job of staying kind of on track to an hour meeting here. Good job, everybody.
This is going to be very fun. We want you to do this. This is going to
Yep.
be great. I'm
You
super.
can always come ask me questions. You can jump in that band group and you can ask Kyle and Eric questions in there. If something pops in your head later, shoot us a message and we'll be more than happy to answer it for you. And this is a great representation of a lot of folks here in this meeting. But if there's other people, we want as many that want to be involved in this activity as possible, because it also breeds good fundamentals, good rehearsal etiquette and stuff for marching band next fall. Really gives us a leg up, especially after the COVIDs, to be successful as we go back to our primary instruments or to percussion instruments next fall. And can be a recruiting tool as well, especially because there's a bunch of band kids wandering around our campus that were in Booth's band and decided high school was terrifying and they're bored. Y'all know who they are by name because you were in band with them. Tell them to come by and see me. Get them involved back in band. They already know what they're doing. They're just lost souls. We need them back. So any other questions down in the chat there, parents? You got anything? I try to be concise and cover as many details as possible, but I do miss things. And I've been doing this for a while, so sometimes I forget when I start rattling things off.
Would people like some examples we can send out? Just some cool shows.
Yeah, you can link them in the band app. You can drop links to shows as posts in there because you guys are admins, so you can post in there. And that'll be a good way people can be in there and start watching some indoor shows. That'll be really good. So everybody, what you mean by dancing? It's not Bruno Mars. I guess it could be, but it's a little bit different. So, all right, well, cool. Well, I'll hit stop on the recording and it'll process and things, and I'll get this up to YouTube and linked on the website for everybody. I think these digital meetings have been a positive move since the coronavirus because they're a little easier to attend, and you can sit in your jammies at home if you need to, or put it on the phone on your way back from work or whatever. So don't hesitate to reach out if you got questions. Again, the money side of things, the deposit December 11th, $100 to secure your spot. That's after 2 practices. So it does give you an opportunity to kind of see what's going on before you finish committing to that. But does make sure that we've got that commitment level from you before we leave for the holidays. So we're sure exactly what our ensemble looks like. So when we get back, we can just tear it up, get those beats clean. Clean beats. All right, everybody. Well, have a good evening, and I'll see y'all soon.